Well, over the last week, perhaps the biggest story was sort of a strange tropical system, Nestor, that brought some rain over the southeast U.S., some heavy rain. I'll be talking about that. I think the biggest story here is going to be this transition into fall, core of fall months, with reinforcing pushes of cooler and drier air. And actually there'll be some severe storms over the southern tier of the U.S., and that's beginning to look like that secondary severe weather season, at least the start of it, more likely in November, but we are seeing definite signs now of transitioning out of early fall into the core part of the season of fall. So let's talk about that. A lot to talk about today in this week's edition of the Blue Water Outlook Weekly Weather Briefing. Well, you can see the heaviest rain over the southeast U.S. as it pushed up into this region. We also had some heavy rain over the northeast U.S. and some onshore flow of the Pacific Northwest around Seattle, a very wet week. Everywhere else here in the middle, very quiet week, not much rain at all. Matter of fact, if we look at the number of rain days here, the areas in brown are either no rain days or just one rain day. But you can see how rainy it's been over the Seattle area, Pacific Northwest. Almost every day this week rain. In parts of the southeast U.S. Haven't seen this for quite some time, rain over this very dry area here. Here's a close-up of the rain, generally 1 to 3 inches, but there were these pockets of 5 inches. And again, that fell over very dry soils here. And most of that, if not all of it, will be soaked up. Now, of course, when you get that much rain over a short period of time, you're going to see rivers that are rising, especially the tributaries. You're going to see some urban flooding issues and pooling of water in low spots. Also want to show you how dry Texas is. So the two areas that remain dry, southeast U.S., mid-Atlantic, really up the east coast, and then Texas. So what will this rain do? Well, it's going to put a dent in the drought, and we're going to have 2 more fronts passing through. So over the southeast U.S., it'll put a dent in the drought, but it won't eliminate it. Now, I'm sure everybody's saying, what happened to that blizzard, the snow we had not that long ago? Well, it's not there anymore. All that snow has melted. Red River of the North is running high, draining all that water. So that's pretty much gone in North Dakota. So I keep on showing dew points for a while still, because the reason I show dew points, I want to show you the clashes between air masses during this seasonal transition. And we still see quite a bit of 50s and 60s, that's the tropical air, and actually parts of southeast Texas, dew points in the 70s. But then we see 30s and 40s, and that's going to be sort of the theme of this briefing, these reinforcing pushes of cooler air pushing down across the nation. Now, last week was cooler than normal over most of the nation. Where we're going to expect our action is going to be where we have the boundary between the warmer air and the cooler air. So that's going to be, as we go forward, where we're going to have the most action as far as rainfall goes. So soils are, I talked about the dry soils. We still have some wet soils over the upper Midwest. Now, this has been improving. We're in harvest operation time. So for the most part, I don't think this is hampering fall harvest operations too much, but we do have pockets. The darker blue here is indicating where there could be some issues here and there. I think especially where we had all the snow melt, but I think Iowa's in pretty good shape now. In most areas, we are able to get out in the fields and continue on our fall operations. Here's the remains of Nestor right here. Doesn't look like much. Nothing that is expected in the tropics or in the Atlantic this week. But Nestor still has a bit of a punch. You can see the winds here gusting above 30 miles an hour off the Outer Banks, even higher just offshore here, and that's moving up towards the northeast. So you can see river stages. River stages are running quite high. We still have flooding going on the Missouri in this reach right here, and in the middle and upper Mississippi in this reach right here. We see an impact with the recent rain over the southeast U.S. And elsewhere in the Pacific Northwest. So anywhere in blue or black dots, we're looking at stream flow above normal. Okay, so that's sort of the current situation. Let's now talk about the forecast. And the forecast is really going to be dominated. This is the current jet stream alignment. by this ridge of high pressure pushing the jet stream, blowing it north, compressing it. We have a strong jet streak here, and that's going to carve out this trough right here. That's going to be the story, not just in the near term, but most likely for the next 2 weeks, or at least the majority of the next 2 weeks. And as you can see here, look at that area of high pressure. It hardly moves at all. The area of low pressure doesn't move all that much either. So what we're looking at is, for much of the nation, cooler than normal temperatures, with a front coming through every maybe 5 days or so, reinforcing it right for the next 2 weeks, pretty much into early November. Now, exceptions, well, looks like California, at least this week, above normal temperatures. And then this is most likely where that boundary will be between the air masses, somewhere over the southeast U.S., warmer in Florida, warmer than normal, cooler than normal here. So somewhere in this region right here will be the clash of those air masses. So here's the first front coming through early this week. You can see it's sweeping through, cooler, windy conditions behind it. And the precipitation between these two fronts, you can see over the southeast U.S. into the Tennessee and Ohio River valleys, parts of the mid-Atlantic region, that will be the heaviest precipitation. Now, some of this here is with Nestor, the remains. This is with two cold fronts passing through. We will continue to have an onshore flow in the Pacific Northwest, so higher elevations and right on the coast, very heavy rainfall. Higher elevation, even a chance of some snow in the higher elevations. Okay, extended outlook. Look at this, 6 to 10 day, 8 to 14, cool weather over most of the nation. Look where this, again, right where this boundary is. That's going to be where we're going to have our transition. And as far as once that second cold front goes through later this week, very strong dry signal in week 2. Okay, let's discuss any weather hazards this week. Severe storms. Well, here we go. Today, Sunday, and Monday, slight risk, actually an enhanced risk today, and that's with the cold front passing through. Critical fire risk in spots, including Southern California, small part of Southern California over the next couple days. And we're looking a little bit further out. Here's these two areas of rain, so it looks like a rain threat over the southeast, parts of the northeast, and parts of the Pacific Northwest. But overall, I think the story for most of the nation is going to be fall-like weather, cooler pushes of air, drier air pushing in. That should allow for good field operations and finishing up harvest operations over the Midwest and Upper Plains. That's this week's weather briefing. Hope you're having a good week so far, and enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.